Everyone thinks any CarPlay Android Auto box with Netflix is a no-brainer upgrade, but here's the thing, most of them turn your head unit into a laggy, crashy science experiment. Scroll stopper. This Ottocast CarPlay Android Auto box might actually be different, but only under very specific conditions. I spent 3 weeks and about 800 miles testing it across a 2019 Honda Accord and a 2020 Toyota RAV4, switching between an iPhone 15 and a Pixel 7. The Amazon rating sits at 2.9 stars and the price is around $96.99, so I went in skeptical. What I discovered changed how I think about wireless CarPlay, streaming in the car, and where this device absolutely shines and where it still stumbles. Before we dive into what I discovered, quick heads up, if you're already convinced and want the best price, the link is below. But stick around because the quirks I ran into could save you a return label and a headache. Setup. I needed this box for 2 reasons. First, I was overplugging in my phone for every errand just to get CarPlay. Second, my kids wanted YouTube during those 20-minute school pickup waits, and my last 2 AI boxes either overheated or stuttered so badly we gave up. I looked at the Ottocast because it promised the right mix: instant wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, built-in Netflix, YouTube, and Amazon Video, a minimalist Android UI, and crucially, Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.4 for stability. The spec sheet says 4 GB RAM and 32 GB storage with a quad-core CPU, plus support for up to a 128 GB USB drive for offline video. On paper, it sounded perfect, but that 2.9-star rating, red flag. I went in hoping to finally ditch the cable without wrecking call quality, navigation, or wasting data on every trip, confrontation, and testing. First, cold start commuting. Plug and play took about 10-15 seconds to boot and hand off to wireless CarPlay. On mornings with a crowded neighborhood Wi-Fi scene, 1 out of 10 times it took closer to 30 seconds to handshake. Once connected, steering wheel controls were responsive and map panning felt nearly native. Audio sync was solid and app switching inside CarPlay was snappy, but then came the quick stop test. Run into a store, come back in 2 minutes. Reconnect took 5-8 seconds on average, which is faster than most boxes I've tried. However, twice it hung until I toggled Bluetooth on the phone. Visual cue. I'll show the dashboard clock in a time lapse so you can see real reconnect timing. Next, dual phone weekends. We paired an iPhone and an Android to see which took priority. If both phones were in the car, it sometimes latched onto the last used device, but then it occasionally grabbed the wrong one if both lit up at once. The fix was simple but annoying: disable Bluetooth on the phone you don't want connected. Not a deal breaker, but worth knowing if you swap drivers a lot. Streaming while parked was where this box had to earn its keep. Using a 5 GHz hotspot from the phone, YouTube ran smoothly at 1080p, but Netflix and Amazon Video sometimes capped effective resolution lower depending on content DRM. It looked closer to 480-720p in some cases. The UI felt like a stripped-down Android tablet, and the one-click switch from streaming back to CarPlay was genuinely useful. But then, after a 45-minute YouTube session, I saw one instance of audio drift. A quick app restart fixed it. Offline playback from a 128 GB USB drive worked great. 1080p H.264 MP4s and MKVs played fine, and this is where the device really shined for data-free road trips. Visual. I'll show a side-by-side of online Vs offline playback quality. Calls and voice assistants were my biggest worry. Siri and CarPlay responded quickly, turn-by-turn instructions were clear, and Google Assistant on Android Auto behaved as expected. But then, in the RAV4, we had 2 calls where the other person heard a mild echo. Tweaking the car's audio processing helped, turning off the surround enhancement reduced it. In the Accord, calls were clean. If your car's echo cancellation is touchy, you may need to experiment. Heat and stability. After 2 hours in 90-degree cabin heat, the metal housing got warm but never alarming. I did see a minor stutter when hopping between heavy apps, but it didn't crash. During highway navigation with music and occasional assistant prompts, it stayed stable. Oh, and compatibility matters. It's for cars with factory-wired CarPlay only and is not compatible with Tesla or BMW. Also, if you're trying to run all this over a 2.4 GHz hotspot, expect lag. The 5 GHz note isn't optional, it's the difference between smooth and meh. Discovery, here's the most surprising thing I found. The Ottocast lives or dies by your network setup. Once I forced a 5 GHz hotspot and disabled 2.4 GHz on my phone, connection times dropped, stutters essentially vanished, and streaming felt like an actual in-car tablet experience. I also updated the firmware on first boot that eliminated a couple of early app hiccups. With that done, wireless CarPlay felt nearly native and the one-button switch between Netflix and CarPlay became the standout feature. Compared to a pricier CarPlay AI box I had on hand, the Ottocast reconnected faster after short stops, but the CarPlay handled DRM video quality a bit better. For families, the Ottocast's offline USB playback is the cheat code. Load it with kids' shows and stop burning hotspot data. But here's where it gets interesting. If your number one priority is flawless call audio in every vehicle, this still isn't as bulletproof as a direct cable. And no, it won't magically give you 4K cinema in your dash. It's a smart compromise, and for under $100, a calculated one. Now that you know the stability lives on 5 GHz and firmware updates, if this fits your use case, grab it before the price drifts up or stock cycles. I'll keep the best current price linked below, and I'll update that link if a newer firmware changes things. Bottom line, if you want wireless CarPlay or Android Auto, watch streaming while parked, and keep passengers happy on road trips, the Ottocast CarPlay Android Auto box delivers. As long as you have a factory-wired CarPlay car, use a 5 GHz hotspot, and can live with occasional quirks. Skip it if your car is a Tesla or BMW, if you demand landline quality calls every time, or if you won't bother with the quick setup tweaks. For the right driver, it's a slick little sidekick. For the wrong one, it's a return waiting to happen. The truth, it's not a theater in your dash, it's a smart wireless upgrade that finally sticks when you set it up right.